Chances are if you're watching this, you're debating on going and seeing the Bob's Burgers movie. And I want to help you make that decision so you can spend your hard-earned money in a really smart place. I'll start right off the bat with whether I think you should see the movie or not, what I really enjoyed about the movie, what I maybe didn't enjoy so much about this movie. Then I'll end up by giving you an overall score and thank you for stopping by. That way you've got all the tools you need to go ahead and make that decision so your hard-earned money can be spent in some awesome places with some awesome people that you love. First off, I would certainly recommend seeing the Bob's Burgers movie. Great, now if that's all you needed, peace out, have a great time at the movies. And friends, if you find this video helpful, I would be honored if you'd consider hitting the like button or sharing this with friends. I really do appreciate it. But if you want to know more, feel free to stick around for the rest of the video. Okay, so what is the Bob's Burgers movie about? In a nutshell, the Bob's Burgers movie is about the Belcher family who is trying to run their restaurant. They owe some money to the bank for the restaurant equipment. They have to pay them back within a certain amount of days. But in order to do that, they have to avoid paying rent to their landlord for the month. However, the problem is their landlord is Mr. Fischoeder, who has just been accused of murder. So the Belcher kids, Louise, Tina, and Eugene, take it upon themselves to acquit Mr. Fischoeder of any wrongdoing, because if they do that, Mr. Fischoeder can continue owning his properties, the Belchers can avoid paying him rent for the month, and therefore they can pay off the bank and still have a roof over their heads and a restaurant to run. So on the whole, the premise is a little convoluted, but the execution of it is pretty good. Okay, I'll start off with some great reasons to go ahead and see the Bob's Burgers movie. First off, the whole murder mystery aspect of it is really entertaining and really easy to follow. The biggest crime, I think, for murder mysteries... That's funny, murder mysteries, crime. You get the idea. I think the biggest fault for murder mysteries in general is the fact that they are just too confusing to follow and therefore alienate their audiences. There's nothing that can lose you faster than a movie that is confusing, but the Bob's Burgers movie avoids that pitfall. The kids get every bit of information that we need piece by piece, slowly and methodically to the point where it's still digestible, and they make it fun along the way too. The movie won't throw too many pieces of information at you at once, and it even finds ways to surprise you within the murder mystery elements. It'll bait you a little bit, it'll start to become predictable, but then it'll change things up, shake it up, and keep everything exciting. Now, the second great reason to go see the Bob's Burgers movie. There's plenty of humor, and it's really subtle. The Bob's Burgers as a franchise is pretty well known for this kind of humor. It makes little small comments that if you blink, you might miss it, and there's plenty of that in this movie as well. When you hear any one of these characters crack a joke or an innuendo, it'll get you laughing, but if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it, so you gotta keep paying attention. But even if you did miss one of these innuendos, there's plenty of them sprinkled throughout the movie so you won't miss too much, which is excellent because it keeps the humor from being a little bit too overt or a little bit too over the top to the point where it gets annoying. I found it constantly refreshing, constantly welcome, and a great addition to the movie at large. Which leads me to my third great reason to go see the Bob's Burgers movie. You don't have to have watched a single episode of the show to enjoy the movie. Bob's Burgers has been a TV show through 21st Century Fox for many years, and I believe it's actually in double digits for seasons now. Myself, I've only watched about 10 episodes of it out of its 11 or so seasons, but I didn't feel like I was missing anything within the movie by not watching any of the shows. They do a great job of compartmentalizing the movies, so if it's your first introduction to the Bob's Burgers family, then you're all good to go. Okay, so with those three great reasons to go see the Bob's Burgers movie, what are some reasons why I might not recommend seeing it? The first reason is the fact that the movie's got a lot of pacing issues. This is mainly in the form of having a really slow start and a really elongated end. And I'll start off by talking about the slow start. The movie takes a really long time to get going and really to relay the overall objective to us as the audience. I start to get kind of impatient because I want to know what the point of everything really was, and for a movie that's only an hour and 42 minutes, I think that's a big issue. If you spend a third of an hour and 40 minutes setting things up, that's a lot of wasted time, and I think the Bob's Burgers was a little wasteful in that regard. I just don't think it made the most of its screen time, and it really felt a little bit wasteful and gratuitous at points. And it made me really worried for about the first third that I was in for a really boring hour and 40 minutes. But fortunately, once the movie hits about the middle points and it hits its stride, I think that's where it really hits its peak and gets really good. And it really keeps that momentum going up until the really elongated last act. We start to approach our resolution within the movie, we figure out who the killer is, but then the movie just kind of keeps going for about another 15-20 minutes, it feels like. Granted, within that time, it wraps up all of the plot lines within the film, so you're not left leaving the movie with any burning questions or thoughts. But I think it could have just downsized it by another about 10 minutes, and I think the movie would have been better off for it. For example, if the movie was an hour and 30 minutes rather than an hour and 42 minutes, I think it would have been that sweet spot. Which leads me into the second reason that I didn't love the movie completely. I think it had too much filler and fluff within its runtime. Now, what exactly do I mean by that? I think that the Bob's Burgers movies didn't have a whole lot of ideas to really go off of, so it just started sprinkling in different things about each of the characters just to kind of add in a little bit of runtime and spice things up. But unfortunately, a lot of these added plot lines I didn't really find myself caring about, and I didn't really feel like they added a whole lot of weight to the movie. The nice thing about it is the fact that it does add another dimension to some of the characters, but it doesn't really do anything to drive the plot of the movie forward, which really stinks, because it makes a lot of the scenes feel really unintentional and just kind of a drag, and it really elongates the movie and adds to the slow start and the elongated ending. And without that, I think the film would have had a lot more meat to it, a lot more substance, and would have been a lot more of a wholesome experience. Alright, so with the reasons to go see and the reasons why I didn't like so much about the Bob's Burgers movie, what is my overall score? I'm going to say the Bob's Burgers movie is a 7 out of 10. It is a good film, and I certainly recommend going and seeing it in the movie theaters and having a great time with it. And honestly, the more I think about the movie, the more I enjoy it. In fact, I might go see it a second time. Maybe a double feature with Top Gun Maverick, because that movie's stellar too. Which, if you want to know my thoughts about that movie, click right up here for that. Friends, that'll do it for this video. I hope you have all the tools to make the decision that you need. If this video was helpful to you, I would be honored if you would go ahead and consider clicking the like button so other people just like you can find this video. Or if you like videos just like these, click right here if you'd like to see more. I've been Bryce. This has been the Bankrupt Hippo YouTube channel. Until next time, have a great day and enjoy the movie.